أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي آمين يا رب العالمين. Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope all of you are doing great and are ready to learn the next concept in relation to our Arabic basic grammar. So before we begin, let's ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us understand all of this difficult stuff that is seemingly difficult but is actually really easy and systematic. And so before we proceed, Rabbi Yasir, Wala tu'assir, wa tammim bil khair. Amin ya Rabbal Alameen. Now let's get on with our lesson 4C, which is about the silent Hamza and the situations that demanded. Now, in the previous lesson, when we were doing the um, lam silencing capability of some letters in relation to the al, what we had stopped our lesson at was there are cases. Well, in Surah Al-Baqarah we gave the example and then stopped it there, that there is Zalikal Kitabu. Okay, so that's how we recite Zalikal Kitabu. However, from our studies, we know that it is actually Al Kitabu. Okay, so why don't we recite it as Zalika Al Kitabu? And why Zalika Al Kitabu? That is what we are going to cover in this chapter, inshallah. That when do we silence this Hamzatul Wasl, this Hamza over here? And that is while joining two words. Okay, so let's inshallah proceed with it. However, before getting into the basics, we are first going to cover some terminologies so that it gets easier for us to refer to this hamzatul this hamza and this lam. All right, so instead of saying the hamza of al, or instead of saying the lam of al, we simply take their names. Okay, it gets easier. Okay, so this hamza here is called Hamzatul Wasl. Okay, and Wasl roughly translates to connection, so you can take it as a connecting Hamza. Okay, so just remember it's the Hamzatul Wasl. Okay, and this lam with a jazm on it or a sukoon on it is called lam tarif. So that's with their names. So instead of saying lam of al or hamza of al, you simply say hamzatul wasl and lam tarif. Okay. Similarly, now what is this hamdu? This is an ism, and this ism is actually its actual form was hamdun, because that's how all the words, all the asma exist in their natural and default state in nakra and rafa form. So hamdun becomes alhamdu. Why so? Because of the addition of this al, and we know that it is now a marfa form. So this purple portion here, which is actually your ism, okay, this ism is called mu'arraf bil lam ism. Okay, and what do we understand from this mu'arraf bil lam? It's a very big word, I know, and it might even freak you out. Okay, but it's totally understandable, so let me walk you through it. Why is it called mu'arraf bil lam? Okay, so you see this n ra fa. Okay, so this roughly translates to know or known, renowned, something. Okay, something that is known. So mu'arraf means something that has been made known. Okay, something that has been made known. How? B means with alam. Okay, so something that has been made known via or through or with the lam. Okay, so this hamdun, okay, this hamdun became alhamdu. That is, this nakra hamdun became the marfa hamdu, alhamdu, via this lam. So this ism is called mu'arraf bil lam. I hope I made it clear. If it is not clear, just let me know and I'll elaborate it further inshallah with some other example. Okay, now getting to the actual lesson. Uh, why do we need to learn it? What's the rationale? Well, as was the rationale in the previous lesson, that to make our life easy, to facilitate our smooth flow of speech, every language has some contractions or some way to facilitate the smoothness of speech. So we had some examples earlier on, which were cup of tea, which was actually cup of tea. Similarly, we have piece of cake, in which the F sound gets silent, and we get landed with, I would like to have a piece of cake. Okay, or it's not too difficult, it's piece of cake. So it's piece of cake, but we made it piece of cake. Okay, so this same rationale is present in this lesson, that why is it zalik kal kitabu and not zalika al kitabu. Same speech, facilitation of smooth flow of speech. Alrighty, so let's get to some examples now. So we have the word kitabun here, which means a book. It is nakra and rafa. Then add al to it and it becomes al kitabu. So it is marfa, and this portion here, this kitabu, this is the mu'arraf bil lam ism. So al kitabu is the marfa form, the book. Then zalika means that, it does not mean this. In some translations, we have its translation as this is the book or this book, while it is not. So okay, it's a relatively long discussion, and inshallah we'll get to it when we are at some pointing nouns and some other topics that I've prepared. So we will discuss it inshallah, that why is it translated as this book in the translations instead of that book. Okay, so but for grammatical purposes, what we are studying right now, zalika always means and has always been meaning and has always meant that and never this. So zalika means that, and now we're going to join this zalika with al-kitabu. Al-kitabu is here, okay, as it is. All right, now, so what happens is this hamzatul wasl gets silent, so that we can smoothly say zalika al-kitabu instead of zalika al-kitabu. I mean, even if you try and say it this way, zalika al-kitabu, it seems to be a bit hard, right, when saying it. How, as compared to zalika al-kitabu, you see, it's just one less sound to take out of our mouth. So zalika plus al-kitabu is equal to zalik al-kitabu. And how is that achieved? By silencing this hamzatul wasl to directly a plain alif. So zalika al-kitabu becomes zalik al-kitabu. All right, so what happened here? So first step was to silence this hamzatul wasl, and then the second step is to find out the last mutaharrik letter over here in the previous word, and then connect that mutaharrik word to the next sakun and the next letter that has sakun on it. Let's talk about it again. The first step is to silence the hamzatul wasl. Okay, so it becomes alif. The next step is to is to locate the last mutaharrik letter. Now the word mutaharrik, yeah. So mutaharrik means it's a letter that has harkat on it. So if this is a harkat, if this is a letter, okay, so let's just make a letter in Arabic. So we have ba. If it has any harkat on it, it is called mutaharrik letter, okay. Oh, and by the way, this jazm here is not a harkat, okay, so it's not counted as harkat, because obviously it's a sukoon. Okay, so this al kitabu, this lam over here is not mutaharrik, but all others, this is mutaharrik, 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 mutaharrik. Okay, so this is the definition of mutaharrik letter. So the after getting this hamzatul wasl as alif, okay, that is, you silence it. What you do next is that you locate the last mutaharrik letter, and then you join that mutaharrik letter with the next letter that has sakoon on it, so that you can easily join it. Okay, so it becomes zalik al kitabu. Okay, another example, nasrun. So nasrun is the help. Nasrun is a help. Okay, now you make it marfa by adding the al, and since the letter noon is shamsi letter and it's not present in haq, ka, khaf, ajab, qam, hai, we know that it is going to kill this lam sound, and this is going to be pronounced as an nasru instead of al nasru. So it is an nasru, the help, marfa. All right, so once again, that help. Now it's actually the help, but obviously I'm not going to translate it as that, that the help. So, but we know that this there is some sense of exclusivity to this help, and this sense of exclusivity is kind of captured by adding some other words. Okay, so we could translate it as that great help, all right, instead of that help, because that help could be nakra as well, right? So instead, so to show that it is actually marfa, you add a couple of words yourself. So zalika an-nasru, that great help, or that help. Okay, I'm not getting into translations right now, we are getting into the grammar right now. So back to the grammar. And so we have zalika an-nasru. What do we do? First step, we silence this hamzatul wasl and convert it to plain alif. And step number 2, we locate the last mutaharrik letter, which is here, okay, ka, and then we directly connect it to noon over here, because we have tashdid over here, so we know that it's gonna connect directly to noon. So zalik kan nasru, that help, or that great help. I hope this has become clear, and if there's any more clarification or elaboration that you might need, uh, feel free to contact me. Okay, so a couple of more examples that elaborated. Okay, so we have amiru plus al muminina. Amiru means caliph or a leader, more like a leader. Okay, so leader plus al muminina, this is hamzatul wasl, that becomes alif. Okay, and from our acronym we know that meme is your qamri letter, therefore hakka, qaf, ajab, gham. All right, so it is not going to silence this lam tarif, therefore this last mutaharrik letter is going to get connected directly to lam tarif. Okay, once again, first step, hamzatul wasl becomes alif and hence silent. Okay, next step, check if lami tarif is going to be alive or dead, that is, if it is going to give out its sound or not, by determining this letter. Okay, is it shamsi or qamari? And final step, check out the check out this last mutaharrik letter, and then connect it to the next letter, which has sakoon on it, or the tashdid on it. Okay, so amiru al mominin is not the correct pronunciation, but amirul mominin is the correct pronunciation. Next we have ashabu plus al kahfi. Ashabu means It is a plural of companions, of companion, and it means companions. Now, well, it actually means a companion or someone who you love to spend time with. Okay, so that's how we got the word sahabi. And okay, so ashab means companions. Al Kahfi. Al is again Marfa, and Kahfi is a cave, so the cave. Companions of the cave. Alright, so what's happening here, grammatically speaking, strictly grammatically speaking, because if I were to get into the meanings and all these implications, this entire lesson would be, uh, foreshadowed. Anyways, so overshadowed. So Ashabu plus Al Kahfi. Um, First step, Hamzatul Wasl becomes Alif. Second step, Lam. Okay. Second step, locate. Sorry. Second step, check out if Lam is going to live or not. Well, in this case, it is going to live because of this kaf, letter kaf, which is Qamri letter haq, ka, qaf, right? So we have ka over here. And then finally we locate the last mutaharrik letter, which is bu over here, and then we connect it directly to the next letter with sakun. So we have ashabul kahfi and not ashabu al kahfi. Okay. Next we have yawmu means a day, al hisab, the accountability. Okay, now these are actually fragments and we are going to make these fragments. Okay, and so just don't worry if I'm translating these fragments right now for you. We are going to make these. Okay, so don't worry about that. Okay, what do we have? We have the day of accountability. So first step, convert this hamzatul wasl to alif. Okay, next step, the Islam lives. Why so? Because haq. Okay, so we have this letter ha, which is Qamri letter, and therefore does not silence this lam tarif. Next step, locate the last mutaharrik letter, which here is mu, and finally you connect this mu with the next majzoom, or the letter that has tashdid on it. Okay, so we have yawmul hisabi. Okay, next we have, I like this example because most of the time when we are translating, when we are writing this phrase, this lillahi in English, what we tend to do is we do not silent, instead of writing lillahi, instead of writing this, we write, okay, we write, okay, so we write li allahi instead of lillahi. Okay, what's happening here? This hamzatul wasl becomes silent. Excuse me. This hamzatul wasl becomes silent and even gets omitted from writing. Okay, now this is very common. I'm sorry, the letters that do not have any harkat on them, they very frequently get omitted from writing. Okay, so even we will observe this in the word Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim over here. B is joined with ism, so we have b, and then it's ism. Ism means name, but most often what happens is that we don't see this alif in the script, right? It's just bismillahi, right? So this is one of the examples where this alif gets omitted. Okay, so what's happening in this example? We have li means for, and this gets silent and then omitted, and this li gets connected directly to the next letter, which is lam over here, and it has the tashdid already. Okay, so it becomes lillahi. So therefore you do not write li Allah, you always write lillah. Okay, and this is in relation to your phrase alhamdulillah. Okay, so it's, even if you're writing it in English, you say alhamdulillah. Most often people write this alhamdulillah. It's not correct, but this is correct, alhamdulillah. Okay, so I hope this was clear as well. Next example is Rasulu plus Allahi. Rasulu means prophet, and Allah is the word Allah. Okay, so same thing happens here. It becomes alif, and Rasulu gets connected to the word Allahi. Okay, and it's the same all over again. Okay, so this is the last mutaharrik letter, it gets connected to lam over here. And finally we have, no, not finally, not yet at least. So we have yawmu plus adin. Now I have skipped this step in the last three examples. Okay, so we have yawmu, which means the day or simply day, and adin. All right, so see this tashdid over here, and this letter dal is not included in the qamari letters. So, and how do we know that? We know it from our acronym Hakka Qafa Jab Gham Hai. So dal is not present there, therefore this lam has been killed off, and it was actually, originally it was ad-din. Okay, this hamzatul wasl was connected directly to dal, it was ad-din. However, when we need to connect it to the word behind it, we need to connect this last mutaharrik letter with the dal directly, because this gets silent. Okay, this hamzatul wasl becomes alif, and we get landed with yawmuddini. All right, now you must be wondering, why do I keep saying last mutaharrik letter, last mutaharrik letter? Here is the reason behind it. Check out this word hasa. This means this. Okay, it means this. So in hasa, what is the last letter? Technically it's this alif that is the last letter. However, it is only alif, it hasn't got any harkat on it. So what are we going to join, okay, with the next word? Therefore I keep saying the last mutaharrik letter. So this zal here is the last mutaharrik letter, and we are going to join this last mutaharrik letter with the next majzoom letter, or the letter that has sukoon on it. Okay, so we have haza is this, and al waladu is the boy, so we have hazal waladu instead of haza al waladu. Okay, that's what. So hazal waladu, this boy. And finally we have our example muqima. Muqima means establisher of something, or the one who establishes something. Okay, so that's what it means. And okay, so muqima salata, salata means prayer, right? As-salatu, so all right, so just finalizing it, it's actually, originally it was salatun, and then it became as-salatu, and then it is in jar form because of this fragment. Okay, so we still have to cover this jar form. Okay, don't worry about it, we will do it soon enough, inshallah, in a couple of lessons. So we have, we need to now join it. So muqimu, I'm sorry, muqima becomes, so we have muqima, and then this as-salatu, its Hamzatul Wasl gets silent, and this last Mutaharrik letter gets connected directly to the Sawd because Lam has been killed off by this Shamsi letter. Okay, so we have Muqimas Salati, establisher of the prayer. And that's what we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us. Muqimas Salati, okay? So, establisher of the prayer. So, this was our last example, and I hope that the concepts presented in this lesson are clear. And now, this is important, and when you are reciting, once again, just as I always say in the end, that when you're reciting, uh, be very, very, very attentive as to what you are reciting and what are the things that you can catch in relation to what you have learned so far. Okay, so be attentive while you're reciting, and if there is any question, okay, just let me know, and inshallah I'll address it as soon as possible. The next lesson is going to be about the review of al, and inshallah ta'ala a couple of points that are left in relation to this are going to be covered. And with this, I take your leave, and we'll meet up in the next lesson inshallah. Barakallahu li wa lakum fil Qur'an al Hakim. Allah Hafiz.